Welcome back to Easily Explained, where today we will be talking about infinitives and infinitive phrases. So let's get started. An infinitive is a form that can be used as a noun, adverb, or even an adjective. Most infinitives start with to. So, for example, we would have something like to drive. We can use this as both a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. For example, if we were to use this as a noun, we would use it as a subject. So we would say something like, to drive is fun. What is fun? To drive. Therefore, to drive is the subject. That counts as a noun. What if we wanted to use it as an adjective? The place to drive to is there. To drive is now an adjective describing that place. So now it's an adjective. We can also use them as adverbs. For example, we can say, the driver rushed to drive. To drive modifies rushed. It is an adverb. So if we think about it, the infinitive, while we know it starts with the to, and we know that it can be used as a noun, adverb, or an adjective. Also, if we think about Spanish, just because grammar in English and grammar in Spanish have a very similar connection. Obviously, some things are very different. But if we think of infinitives, that's a very common phrase in Spanish, because in Spanish we have all of these different conjugations for different pronouns. And we've talked about AR in the present tense of Spanish, ER, IR, and all of these different conjugations. But, for example, if we had a verb like caminar, which means to walk, I'll just do a quick example. We refer to this verb as an infinitive. This means to walk. Whereas when we start to conjugate it, it becomes I walk, you walk, she, he walks, like that. So what you want to think of it is just the to, and think of it as just the simplest form of the verb, the one that can be used as a noun, adverb, or an adjective. But when we say that most infinitives begin with to, we add in this. So it's very important to remember that if you ever have something with to, you cannot automatically assume that it's an infinitive without looking at the next verb or the next word in the sentence, I would say. Because if it is a verb, then yes, it is an infinitive. But if it's not, if it's a noun or a pronoun, for example, we have to her or to Austria. These are prepositional phrases, which we will talk about in one of the next videos. But right now we're talking about infinitives. With a noun or a pronoun, to does not signify that it is an infinitive or an infinitive phrase, which we will get onto in a minute. It is a prepositional phrase, so make sure you do not confuse those two things, because they are very separate and they are very different. Now it's time for your infinitive practice. Identify the infinitives in the 4 sentences below, but now I also want you to tell how it is being used. Is it being used as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb? And if you can't remember what those things mean, go watch our previous videos on English grammar, where we talked about each of those in great detail. Then come back and continue this, because you need to know how they're being used so that you can accurately describe the infinitive itself. Pause the video now and complete the practice. Alright, let's start number 1. Ready to leave, she rushed outside. So the easier part is to identify the infinitive. We can say, oh, we see the to and it's not followed by a noun or a pronoun, so to leave is our infinitive. We got that. That was easy enough. But now we need to identify how it's being used. In this case, this is modifying ready. It's telling ready to do what, almost, in a sense. It's not the exact same, since we can't call it an object because the main verb is rushed. This is just a phrase. It's an infinitive phrase to be exact, but we'll get on to that. So this is an adverb. It's being used as an adverb because it's being used to modify ready. Number 2, Blaze wanted to run. Now in this case, to run is our infinitive, but now we can call this to run as an object because Blaze wanted to do what? He wanted to run. Therefore, it's an object, and when we talk about objects, like direct and indirect objects, they're nouns. So this is being used as noun. To begin would be wise. In this case, it's being used as a subject, so it's also a noun. And lastly, this girl is the one to punish. In this case, to punish is referring to one. It's describing it. So we're going to say this is an adjective. Congratulations, you are now an expert at the first part of a positive and appositive phrases. If this video helps, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!